Guys, so today I'm gonna talk about my experience being hospitalized in IMH was like a long time ago, and actually the reason why I ended up there is because I needed some new antipsychotics because I thought that I lost my antipsychotics at home because I was too messy. So basically my own main visit before hospitalization was at IMH at the emergency department because I needed new medication. But actually the main point of this video is that no one likes to be hospitalized, I think, and also that my stay at the hospital was just, and being hospitalized was kind of like really not really intended by me, and it could have been solved. But obviously IMH and the management there is pretty weird because I think I could not be hospitalized and just get my medication and then go home because I was just attended by two psychiatrists there. The first main psychiatrist is that he was the first one to really see me and assess me, and because he kept asking me questions, and as I go on and tell my story about and how I really need my antipsychotics, I kind of realized that he misunderstood me, and he thought I was abusing my antipsychotics at home because I also brought up about my codependency on sleeping pills, and he thought that I was abusing my antipsychotics, which is that was what I kind of got from him, because he immediately was just saying okay, wait outside the room, and I knew he was kind of in a hurry to rush me because he really thought I overdosed on it, but I didn't. So I had to wait, and eventually, you know, I already knew that he was gonna hospitalize me in IMH and stuff like that. No matter how much I told him that I didn't abuse my antipsychotics. So I realized that after a while, the ambulance came, and I had to go to the ambulance, the Sengkang General Hospital, and had to get my blood test. And I thought it was I just went with the flow, but I knew I really couldn't do anything at this point. And then they took my blood test, and obviously I didn't abuse my antipsychotics, so the results came out normal. And then I went back to the IMH, and from then I was all alone from the start. Managed to call my parents, and actually both my parents came, and also I think I missed my Winnie, and they brought my Winnie the Pooh, and I had to kind of be assessed by another psychiatrist. Already by that time it was already nighttime, and I really was I kept asking more questions, no, I didn't ask more questions. I was pretty I didn't know what's gonna come, but then eventually I was ended up in hospitalization in MH. I think I was in the hospital for 11 days, I think, if I'm not wrong, because the thing is that I was hospitalized there on I think on a weekend, on there's a lot of weekends and public holidays, so then the official doctors wouldn't come, the other doctors would come instead, because I think the official doctors would only come at normal days, weekdays, so yeah. And obviously I was definitely I just still wanted to flow. Obviously it could be really intimidating because you don't know what's gonna come, but I was told I was assured by the nurses if anybody disturbs you, just come and talk to me. And yeah, so eventually I meet a lot of friends, and I really like them. Some I keep in touch, and I hang out with one of them sometimes. And at that point in the hospitalization, obviously I had to be still taking medication and antipsychotics, and like I think it was really intense, like antipsychotic treatment, because I was put on it like I think day and night, if I remember correctly, because I really can't remember. And yeah, and then you have to take it in front of the nurses, and they would have to watch you take it. They won't let you go to your bed and take it. So I did that, and I actually I didn't know that I had this like side effect, because usually when I take antipsychotics, I guess it just makes me like gain weight or maybe just nausea. But the nurse said, put her hand like this. So, so like then and she saw my hand shaking, so she put me on another medicine, because obviously I think it's part of the tremors or part of the antipsychotic side effect. So yeah, so in those 11 days, to be honest, how my schizophrenia was, it's just that I felt like I don't hear voices anymore, but I still felt a bit weird. Like I know that, you know, like having schizophrenia is such a big deal. Like you just, when you have it, you really know that it's happening. Like it really disturbs your peace of mind, and it really disturbs your vision on how you normally see things. So yeah, and I still have friends that was really what kept my journey in the hospitalization in IMH the most like nicest thing of all, because without my friends I wouldn't have really kind of enjoyed it. I kind of enjoyed it. Like I got like free meals and stuff like that, and like tea time and stuff like that. And I usually don't really snack, so it's like I was at my hospital bed. I was like, I'm gonna go fat after this, but obviously, um, after a while, as of now, I'm definitely overweight, and I'm like, like I think it's because of the previous antipsychotic that I last took. But as of right now, I do not go for therapy, and I do not take any psychotics. But I still have schizophrenia because I can't recover from it, and I still live with it every day. And I know that my symptoms are all back. And last time in hospital, obviously it was kind of like my voices were gone, but obviously schizophrenia is the way it is, so definitely came back. And I was kind of surprised, but like I know I shouldn't be surprised, because people with schizophrenia can't really cure. And even those who recover, I read that they still have depression and stuff like that. So obviously the whole experience of having schizophrenia is very tough. And yeah, so that was it. And to be honest, like I had like a social worker, I had a case manager who asked like details about like how they can further help me. And even after I was discharged from hospitalization, I was referred to a social worker, which I saw a lot last time, but now I currently don't need any more therapy. And yeah, so and then I also saw like in the hospital, I think in IMH is kind of like a new experience to see, because I personally wasn't really tied down. Like I was behaving like okay, I wasn't behaving really weirdly, thankfully. But obviously I saw those patients who had to be tied down because they wanted to harm themselves or they wanted to end their lives. And they really tie their hands like really like through the bed and the legs and stuff like that. And you know I really think that like it was like really like kind of distressing for me, because like I was like I'm not really distressed, but like I kind of worry like, oh my god, it's really uncomfortable if I was in the shoes, right? And yeah, and but that was like, then even like I saw this TikTok video, and obviously I stand for my justice and like being free and stuff like that. And then and then this guy was saying he's like a paramedic and he has to tie someone too. And I was like, you don't really have to tie him unless he really wants to harm someone. He's like, and yeah, I have to tie him because he's definitely harming someone. I know, because like I just don't really like the idea of like someone being tied down. And obviously now I know that if someone does it, shit, in here in Singapore, if someone does it like by a professional, that means that the person is really like has to be like that. But for me, I feel like it's painful, and I wouldn't want to have to do that. But obviously, when you are having a really bad mental breakdown, especially when you have a mental illness, you really have to, kind of like do that because the person might ended up like really injuring themselves. So yeah, and I kind of like that how I feel like in the hospital in IMH. I really think like the people there, the friends I have there, some I don't know, some I know, and some I don't like, but it's just how it is with people, right? And and I was just there, and it was funny because when one patient, which is like, I don't know if it's like she was making such a like big fuss, and then like a bunch of my friends were really annoyed with her because she also kind of like bullied my friends, right? Started making a lot of noise when she started to make a fuss, and it's like so funny. Like I feel like people are really smart in here because they know how to hate on the right person instead of like the wrong person, which I think is like very like popularized in like the world, like for just completely innocent people getting hated. And yeah, and I was like it was really nice. And also the routine, like I have to like bathe and this timing and stuff like that, so I knew how to basically live my life in there. And yeah, it was really nice. And I guess the point is that I also want to say is that although I enjoyed it, if you wanna, I don't think anybody wanna get hospitalized, but if you ever in IMH and you go to emergency, well, to be honest, you have to be truthful about what you're experiencing. But obviously, I have to tell you that if you actually have suicidal thoughts or have want to have, you know, to do it, you definitely will be ending up in the hospital in IMH. And yeah, I think that's really a heads up for anybody. Like I honestly was like in really deep distress last time, and the second doctor who assessed me, who really put me in the hospital, which is a female doctor and different from the first doctor, she knew that I was like not getting better, so she had to hospitalize me. And no amount of like pleading from myself or my parents, they really can let me go, because they can't let me go because they're just really like desperate to put me in the hospital. And like I think it's really important to, if you are watching this and you have a mental health illness and you decide to go to IMH emergency, you really have to be careful about the word suicide. I said, it's a triggering word, and it definitely will be a trigger to others because it'll be like really alarming to them. But if you want to avoid hospitalization, and if you have the will to, still live, and like you don't have to share too much, because when you share too much, you get into a hospital, and that will not be an option if you're not wanting to be hospitalized. So yeah, and I guess the main point of this video is already said in a lot of points. So I really hope you guys stay safe, and I will see you guys in the next video.